This is the what-if factory, presenting the definitive, extended exploration of the scenario. What if every time you died in a dream, you lost a random memory in real life? The very first, primal consequence would be the inversion of the human relationship with sleep. Rest would cease to be a biological necessity and become the ultimate, most terrifying gamble. The synaptic purge triggered by dream death means that the simple act of falling asleep is risking the erasure of one's professional competence, emotional history, or even procedural skills like driving or walking. This would lead to a pervasive, global culture of radical insomnia, enforced not by energy drinks, but by existential terror. People would engage in continuous, low-level activity, seeking a state of perpetual, miserable wakefulness, terrified of the finality that awaits in the subconscious. This sustained lack of sleep would immediately crash the global economy. Productivity would collapse because the workforce is chronically exhausted and increasingly unreliable due to random knowledge gaps. A surgeon might forget a crucial step in a procedure, an architect might lose the specific structural formula for a high-stress point, a programmer might forget the key syntax for an entire programming language. The economic system would pivot toward extreme redundancy and constant cross-checking, doubling all tasks and drastically slowing down innovation. The creation of the memory log would become an immediate, vital necessity for everyone. This would not just be a diary, it would be a comprehensive, digital life ledger, including biometric data, every password, every emotional milestone, and daily summaries of familial interactions. Forgetting the face of your child or the reason you love your spouse would be commonplace, requiring the first words upon waking to be, "Honey, please read me the log summary of our relationship." This reliance on an external, factual record fundamentally changes the nature of authentic emotion, as feelings are now constantly validated and anchored by technology, rather than organic memory. The social fabric would begin to shred under the weight of the fear of connection. People would become profoundly guarded, hesitant to form deep, intricate relationships. Since complex memories, the subtle history of shared jokes, silent understanding, and long-term context, are the most valuable and thus the most devastating to lose, individuals would favor superficial, transactional interactions. Committing to a life partner or having children would become an act of terrifying courage, because the random erasure of a key relational memory could instantly turn a loved one into a functional stranger. The educational system would suffer a generational collapse. Children, whose imaginations are boundless and whose dreams are often violent and filled with peril, would be subject to constant, random memory loss. Learning the alphabet, basic mathematics, or the rules of grammar would become a Sisyphean task, as the knowledge acquired one day is purged the next. Specialized, safe dream preschools would emerge, focusing on constant, low-stimulus, repetitive audiovisual inputs designed to suppress complex dream generation, effectively sacrificing the imaginative development of a generation for basic functional literacy. The legal and ethical landscape would dissolve into chaos. Dream death would be the ultimate legal defense. A murder suspect could truthfully claim, "I have no recollection of the event, I was pushed off a bridge in my dream last night." Proving that a memory wasn't lost would be an impossible burden, leading to a system that defaults to extreme physical evidence and technological surveillance, completely abandoning the unreliable concept of personal testimony. Furthermore, the trust in authority would vanish, as no one could guarantee that a political leader, a general, or a chief justice hadn't lost a vital piece of the constitutional law or a critical defense protocol in a nightmare. This reality would breed a terrifying, new form of black market, dream assassination. Highly paid, specialized cybertherapists or hackers would develop techniques to remotely induce a terrifying, fatal dream state in a target, perhaps a business rival or a political opponent, at a critical moment. The memory loss would be random, but guaranteed, potentially causing the target to forget the combination to a safe, the details of a merger, or the location of a key asset, winning a fortune through psychic sabotage. Finally, the most profound existential impact would be the rise of the conscious survivor. Individuals would evolve from simply fighting the dream to actively curating their waking life for dream safety. They would prioritize developing simple, procedural, muscle memory skills, like simple carpentry or repetitive manufacturing tasks, which are often more resilient to random erasure than complex, explicit knowledge. The human aspiration for intellectual and emotional depth would be tragically traded for the pragmatic necessity of functional resilience. The world would become an intensely pragmatic, heavily documented, and deeply sad place, where every moment of joy is appreciated with the terrifying knowledge that it could be erased forever by the time the sun rises. And that, factory fanatics, is the brutal, extended reality of a life where every dream death costs a piece of your real soul.